What's good, everybody? This your boy Blackout Jones, and hey, what do you know? We have our next defensive coordinator coming to the University of Tennessee, and it's a great one. A home run hire, as far as I'm concerned. Jim Knowles. We know that guy, don't we? Who led the Ohio State Buckeyes to the 2024 National Championship. The news broke around, 3:30 today? ESPN broke the news stating that Tennessee was targeting Penn State's Jim Knowles as a defensive coordinator. I'm going to talk about that and a whole lot more, but before I do, please subscribe to this channel. Once you subscribe, hit that notification bell, hit all, so anytime I drop any content, you'll get that notification. Also, please follow, like, share, do all those great things, and do not forget to comment in the comment section. Without any further ado, let's get to it.
Survive if I let you.
So, as I was saying at the top of the program, Jim Knowles has been targeted as the next defensive coordinator for the University of Tennessee. We know about, like I said, we know about Jim Knowles. We know about, that trip to Columbus back in 2024 in the college football playoffs. He pretty much did whatever he wanted to do defensively against our offense. And I'm going to get to that here in a few. But home run hire. Josh Heupel didn't have no choice. This had to be a home run hire. Your fifth year, yeah, you had to make a statement. You had to make some noise. You had to make a splash. And he did all those things. And getting Jim Knowles, who is a proven defensive coordinator, is a great get. It's a great get. We're glad that Matt Campbell didn't want to retain him as the defensive coordinator. Made the job a lot easier. I know before a lot of people had Ryan Walters on their radar. Of course, when you hear a lot of things from the media, you think that, hey, this is what it's going to be. And what do? You do your research. You start looking at Ryan Walters and you're like, okay, this might be a great fit. But this ain't the Tennessee of old. This ain't the 2021 Tennessee. This ain't the Tennessee after the NCAA infractions that had the black cloud hovering over their head. This time around, you have a defensive coordinator that wants to come to Tennessee. Not we're trying to get this guy. No. We're trying to get this guy. No. Yeah, I want you, but I want to come to Tennessee, but y'all got too much going on right now. There's definitely a lot of uncertainty going on back in 2021. But now, Josh Heupel has changed the culture. Josh Heupel coaches winning football at the University of Tennessee. And with Jim Knowles on the staff, it could possibly be a match made in heaven. But let's talk a little bit more about Jim Knowles. Let's talk about his history, not only at Ohio State, not only at Penn State, but also at other stops that he made through his journey through the coaching ranks. So, Jim Knowles, as I stated before, he was the defensive coordinator for Ohio State's national championship game in 2024. Definitely, we felt all that last year. We saw what we got from them. Ohio State held us to 256 yards that game of total offense, and we only had 104 yards passing. But back then our offense wasn't really clicking anyway. But still, you know what I mean. The job was done, and they took off from there. OSU's Ohio State scoring defense only allowed 12.9 points per game and 254.6 yards per game, which ranked third in passing defense, which is 167 yards per game, and rush defense, which was 87.6 yards per game. When you have a defense like that, it's nothing but a recipe for success as long as you have the offense that complements that. Also, Jim Knowles runs a 4-2-5 defense, which is 4 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers, and 5 defensive backs. Now, Jim Knowles was also the DC at Oklahoma State from 2018 to 2021. And we know what the Big 12 was back then. It was shoot 'em up, bang, bang. No defense whatsoever, but he changed that narrative down there at Oklahoma State. Reason why I say that, because his teams allowed 297, his teams in 2018, he allowed 297 4.9 yards per game after giving up 452 yards per game the year before with the previous DC. In his 3 years there at Oklahoma State, he took his defense from 82, which he did in his first season. They went from ranking number 82 in total defense in 2019 to number 44 in 2020 to the number 4 ranked defense in 2021 before he left to join the Buckeyes. Now, he also, this is a caveat, didn't know this, he also worked alongside former Tennessee offensive coordinator David Cutcliffe at Duke for 7 years as a defensive coordinator. And he also worked with Cutcliffe as the linebackers coach at Ole Miss in 2003 as well. Now, last year with Penn State, the team still only gave up 21 points per game, which was way better than what we were giving up defensively. So, and he only had 1 year. So I know a lot of people are probably looking at it as, well, hell, look what he did look what he did at Penn State and how he got Swiss cheesed up by UCLA. That was his first year. He didn't have his guys. And sometimes in 1 year, it can look great. Sometimes it may take another year. We just have to be patient and let that man cook, because history has been proven that when you let him cook, oh, it's so delicious. Mwah, chef's kiss. So let's be patient with the defense. We have a great hire. This ain't a situation like back with Butch Jones when he got rid of John Jancic and he brought in a Bob Shoop and he had to shoot away, because that was not a good decision by Butch Jones whatsoever. John Jancic was a decent coach. For me, I think he was better, and I think the defense played a lot better when John Jancic was there during the Butch Jones era, before Bob Shoop came in there, because when Bob Shoop came in there, man, we were a leaky defense at best. But anyway, how do y'all feel about this hire, this soon-to-be hire for Jim Knowles coming to the University of Tennessee? Understand something. Compared to what Tim Banks came into, compared to what Jim Knowles is coming into, is like night and day. Jim Knowles has the talent. There are kids on this staff, on this team, that were trying to be recruited by Jim Knowles, like Marion Dye, for instance. It came down to Ohio State and Tennessee, and Marion Dye chose to come to Tennessee. So I've seen where he's excited. I've seen where Ethan Huntley is excited. Man, I think these kids are ready to work. They're ready for next season. Jim Knowles is going to bring the best out of these kids, and he's going to bring the best out of this defense. And I'm very excited, and I can't wait to see what it looks like. I think these guys are going to be flying all over the place. They're going to be ball hawks, because one thing about Jim Knowles defenses, in which we've seen for ourselves, they come to play, they are aggressive, and they play no games. They come in for everything. And I think this hire right here is going to turn Tennessee not only into a better team, but a potential playoff team next year, and possibly, hopefully, start playing for national SEC championships and playing for national championships for years to come. Anyway, you know who I am, Black Guy Jones, and you know where we are, just shooting the sports. And anytime when I talk about that power tee and the one beside me, especially today, after the breaking news that we heard, you already know what it is. Go Big Orange and go damn Vols. Let's go.
Survive.